towels there, you know. Bastion's gonna pop an extra finger somewhere just to make it even better now. You know, he's gotta perform.
So
What?
So you literally, it ended with you saying the line that you had said, right? And what do you guys do with that guy curled up in the fetal position? The three of you standing there, and
I stand up. I make a show of like, you know, just, there's a, you know, you hear a bit of a pop. It's like, oh, I'm feeling much better now. I pull out a set of manacles and I walk over to the fetal guy. It's like, right, we're gonna have some fun with you, buddy.
he looks up and he's like, "What? Huh? What? Is it over?"
Oh, buddy, I don't know what you've seen, but you're gonna have some more fun.
What?
We've got all day and nobody knows you're here now. Your friends are all dead.
Look, just tell us what we ask, and no one will get hurt.
Intimidation with advantage for you, Rick, and then you're going to be persuasion, unfortunately with disadvantage there, because you're not trying to make friends with it. You're just trying to keep them kind of like calm and steady minded, as opposed to like freaking out.
Oh, baby.
You got
Minus
what I need.
manage, baby.
So it's one of those things where, yeah, you scare the shit out of him, and he's like starts like, but because he was so fetal for so long, he starts like trying to push backwards, but he's slow moving, and even though Bran is at like I don't know, 4 strength, even Bran has like the strength at the moment because like how weak he seems right now to overpower him. Messy, if you gotta go check something out, feel free.
I think there's someone operating heavy machinery in front of my door. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. See you in a minute.
It's just Bastion, you know, doing his thing.
It took me a while to get used to when I stream at night, a loud pounding over my head, and I realized it was my daughter, because again, I've said this 100 times, we put her to bed with a lot of books, because she likes to read while she's in bed to her animals. So she like throws them out of her crib when she's...
So cute.
So she'll like one at a time throw like, I'm not even exaggerating, like 16 books out of her crib, because she will read all of them. So I'm always like, what is that noise?
Leaf blowing the hallway.
There you go. You know, vacuums work too, but... so...
Not
So
for
you
leaves.
you make your so you say to, hold on, I lost track because the leaf blowing and everything.
You say to the fetal position guy,
He starts backing up, frightening or whatever. You say the words to him, and he like looks up at you like he recognizes that you spoke, but doesn't necessarily recognize exactly what you said. You know what I mean? And he's starting to like slowly turn around, to clamber away. But like so, like, while he's turned around and trying to clamber, that's when you kind of like grab at least like one of his wrists and definitely get a manacle on him. At this point, make an athletics check. It's normal for you to try to get the other manacle on him.
Oh, it rolled of a fucking 20!
Unfortunately, like he's weak, but he's actually like a strong person. So even though you got the first manacle on him, he's actually able to pull away from the second one. Anybody else can jump in at this point.
I thought it was supposed to be athletics, wouldn't? Or did you say acrobatics?
Oh, yeah, it's athletics. Sorry,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh.
Could you re-roll with athletics?
Oh, yes, happily.
Rolls a 1.
I got your back.
Oh,
Awesome moment. Why is that so...
I tried to have your back.
Why does Pearl 20 seem so opaque? I just realized that right now. So does somebody else jump in to lend an assist?
no.
In this scenario?
I actually like this, Scott, with the dice not being totally solid. They're still visible, so you can see them, but they just don't block things out when they land on people's faces.
Okay, that's I will keep it that way definitely, but I think it's a little too light, so I'm gonna try.
Yeah,
to fix that.
yeah. It's okay on like my color of dice, but on those light blue ones, it looks a bit.
Yeah. So I just realized it right now because again, my window is really really tiny. So, how opaque did I make it? I did opacity 100. I'm confused. Opacity. Yeah, opacity 100. That's 100%. Why is this happening? I'm confused why this happened. Oh, smoothness. That's why. Alright, let me reduce my smoothness a bit. Okay, so that would be a bit opaque for you. Okay, cool. So, my apologies. Does somebody jump in to assist? Does it tell? It's like grab the guy?
No.
It's a waste
I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted about like how much pleasure this demented wizard is about to take in torturing some poor person
Wait,
who
what did I
hasn't
miss?
necessarily personally done anything wrong.
What have I missed?
I mean, who's to say I'm gonna torture him?
You, your voice, general being.
Wait, oh, is the guy trying to run away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he doing a good job at it so far?
He got a manacle on one hand and was able to pull his hand free from somebody with like a 6 strength.
8, thank you.
Close enough.
All right, yeah, I guess I'll approach and try to subdue him.
Honestly, it's one of those things. Roll me athletics. It's actually a really easy check.
Yeah, you say that.
You're just not a little bitch
Yeah,
like
you
Bran.
Literally an 8. You know what I mean? Like, so you're able to like, as he's trying to get away, you're able to kind of like
30% chance of failure.
you grab him and hold him still for a second, and Bran's able to like 2-arm grab his other arm and pull it back and get the manacle on, and so you got a manacled. Manacles, technically manacles are designed for your fronts, not your backside. I don't know if we manacled behind the backpack, but that's fine. So because they're loose enough, you can just get them around if you wanted to. So you manacle him, and like easily like sweep out one of his legs and throw him back to the ground. And so you guys can approach to interrogate however you're going to do so. And so he's looking up and he's like, I don't even know what's happening right now. I'm so confused. Are we here again?
Yes, we are. We're
But
back.
not for long.
Oh, just anything. I'll help you anyway. Just don't send me back there.
I start like waving my arms around and chanting like arcane nonsense.
What are we asking him about? What was the
Are
idea?
there any other scouts?
There are 3 others, he says, looking around to the corpses. No.
Okay, right. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I continue like gesturing and pretending to cast something.
He's,
Okay, now
he's
we're
looking
wasting
at,
time.
he's looking at you, and he's like freaked out, and he keeps looking back. So there's like pauses between like when he speaks, because he's clearly looking at you. Like,
I
freaked
maintain
out.
eye contact.
Yep. Okay, is that all you needed? Can I? There's no more scouts. Where did you come from?
Well,
I
that... you-
What? We're not. Why are we answering his questions? We're not going to answer your questions.
I
Look.
stop casting. It's like, do you see that high cliff up there?
He looks up, nods.
I motion like, "Meow."
So, because he obviously saw that earlier, so he's just kind of confirming 2 and 2. I imagine Leonard's upset that a question was answered, but he just said no. But he like nods. He put 2 and 2 together. Like, okay, you definitely are those people. Okay.
Is he standing right now?
No, you tripped him onto his ass, and he's got manacles
Okay.
on.
Just making sure. Anything else? You guys done?
Who are you guys?
Okay, again.
Look, stop asking questions, because he really will have to kill you if you
Oh,
do.
can you do me a favor and take his boots off for me?
He just
Why?
starts kicking off his boots on his own. It's difficult because
Excellent.
they're laced very well, but he kicks off his boots. It just takes a minute.
Oh, that's even better.
Did you? Were you going to keep the boots?
No, but if you have any more questions.
Look, I'm not comfortable with just slaughtering him while he's tied up like this.
I'll just I don't need my boots. I'll just go. I'll just go.
Oh, he'll just leave. That's cool. We can do that, right, guys? We can just let him go.
Well, potentially.
Okay, yeah.
Listen. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you came from, aside from a cliff. I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Okay, all right. But
I'll just go.
you know where we are, and you know what we look like, and this is why I said we should buy some fucking disguises. All right, now look, it's not your fault, but I am gonna kill you.
What?
And there's nothing you can do
ask me,
about it.
ask me
I mean,
anything. Ask me anything. I'm one of the witch hunters. We've been going around and slaughtering them for some time, but but I broke off from them before we got to Crag. I was sent in this region. They thought that maybe the boy would be moved, and so I'm supposed to find him.
Tell us about the boy.
There's a boy. He looks like a dwarf, but he's not exactly a dwarf. He's half dwarf, and we're supposed to find him and make sure he's dead. And if
Bastion's probably making another half dwarf right now, so there's really nothing you can do.
I don't know who Bastion
a
is.
bunch of half
I don't know who Bastion is. I don't want to know names. I just want to go. And
Tell us a bit.
Why are you
more
looking
about-
for the boy?
Yeah.
it was my orders. I was supposed to. We were supposed to go and scout out where the camp was, and if we could get the boy, the half freak, we were supposed to kill it. But if not, then we were just supposed to report back where the camp was, and we were going to bring everybody here and take care of it.
All right, I'm gonna need two more things from you. One, I'm gonna take a map out, and you're gonna draw on there positions of your witch hunters in the area that you're familiar with, because you're a scout, you know stuff, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know where some stuff is, but like we've been out
Good.
here. I'll answer your question. I'm just trying to be as helpful as possible, right?
Yes,
'cause
I
you're
realize
gonna
that.
let
I'm
me-
asking you for the information that you know when you left.
I've been.
And then secondly, I'd like to know what exactly you know about the Scoia'tael in the region right now.
Okay. He gets you put the map out and you put it before him, and he like asks for like some sort of like I suppose he could just point at spots and you guys can like, use a pen or whatever. So he points at two spots of where he knows like camps would be in the area, and then he stops and he looks at you and he's like, this information's as maybe 2 months old since we broke from camp. And he just like stops mid-sentence, like as you guys are just like, because I imagine Brand's very much like I fucking asked you to do
I
something.
cut him off pretty early on. I don't care. I want to know.
He points at two more spots at where he thinks that camps might be, and then lastly he points at Crag and says, "Last I know they were heading into Crag, but we broke off. We went ahead and broke off before they got there."
All right. And what do you know about the Scoia'tael in the region?
There's the guy leading them. His I'm trying to. There it is. Zodal Dastana. He's the one leading them. He's the one that's got the boy, and he's hiding him. He's not a good man. When we fought him last time, we won and we took their camp, but we lost a lot of good humans, good men, like real men, and he I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to talk about someone that's not your ally, but he's a bad man, but he's smart, like real smart. Like he can kill a lot with very little because he's smart for a dwarf, you know what I mean? Like maybe even smart for a human. Like he's a freak, and he's got the boy. And like I said, if we couldn't just like do it from the shadows, and he kind of like looks over at the guy that was sopping wet dead over there from the two spear things, and then like looks back. Then we were supposed to report back.
Where were you supposed to report? In Crag?
We were sending up, smoke signs, every couple camps, so that they would kind of keep an eye out like where we were. But I don't even know if anyone's behind us or how far behind. We never reported back to camp. We were not until, like, you don't report back with failure, Like, if you're gonna fail, just don't go back.
Right, so when you went back to camp, what were you going to tell them?
We didn't get there yet. We didn't find them yet.
Okay, so
He wasn't going back to base.
You weren't going back anytime soon?
No, we like we,
So
we
when
narrowed
do
the
you
area, but like we still hadn't found them. We just found camps.
When do you think they would expect you back by?
I mean,
Could be a couple more months, right?
I honestly, with how frequently we've been seeing signs of them of them freak shows, and then do any of you guys like react facially when he says freak shows or anything like that? Do any of you guys-
No, I think we've all heard it.
Yeah, so
I'm
his
used to
racism's
hearing it
completely
by
numb
now.
to you. Okay, that's cool. So he doesn't. So he just continues on with it. He doesn't like react to your reactions, right? So he says, "We've been the frequency, like how often we've been seeing the freak show camps. I think we're close. Like I think we were pretty close. But I'm not going back to Crag. I'm not going back to them. Nah, I gotta go find me a pretty little woman and get a house. Like I'm done with this. Like
You should maybe find a
I'm done
boat
with
on
this.
the coast and just get a nice voyage far away. That'll clear your mind.
yeah, listen. I'm hunting them freaks because that's what they are. But like you don't like I've never had magic on me, and I don't ever want to. Like I'm good. I'm gonna leave. I'm not going back east. I'm sorry. I'm not going back east. I'm going west. The coast, sure. I'm done.
Alright.
I'm done. Like
I'm
really.
gonna start walking towards him. Now I'm gonna do something that my companion here is not gonna be happy with. I'm gonna take these manacles off, and you're gonna run.
Well, actually, before you go, I think can you come here, Brand, for a second? Just come here real quick.
Sorry, loud apple.
I think we should just like put a bag over his head or something, and then make him count to like 1,000 or whatever. We'll just head on out of here. That way, he won't know which direction we're going, and we
I've
won't
got a
know
plan.
which direction he's going.
I've got a plan.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Why don't we get him to continue north, placing more smoke signals to draw away any suspicion?
No, I don't trust that. I don't
Oh,
trust him.
but you just trust to let him go.
Trust me.
I don't think
I
he's
have a
just
plan.
gonna let him go.
If you kill him, I will break your nose, Bran. You duplicitous little witch.
We can't let him leave now, can we?
Why not?
He's seen our faces.
Telebast. We can't let him leave.
Why not? He said he was going to leave.
Yeah.
The
He
reason
also
you can't
also-
trust him is because you're not human like me. There's a bond, a brotherhood.
human
I bet you a
kinship.
horse.
Really. You think that what you are defines what you're supposed to be?
I think it certainly defines something about us.
I was a human. I don't remember being one, but I was.
Was.
And, in some degree, I still am.
Then prove it and show me your humanity by letting him live.
They were literally sent out here to kill a small boy.
They were sent out here to find someone. Yes, if they
Small
killed
boy.
it. I
They
mean,
were explicitly told to kill a small boy.
you say he's a small boy. He looks like a dwarf. He can't be that small if he looks like a dwarf. If you can mix him with them, he's a big lad.
You've seen the Scoia'tael camp, right?
Yeah.
Women, kids. We're putting them in danger if we let this scouting continue. We were going here to stop them. We agreed to stop them.
The scouting isn't going to continue. He said he'd go.
I can't take him on his word.
The reason I wasn't shot when we first met the Scoia'tael was because Broker stood up for me. She didn't know me. I was just a human. They could have shot me. But she did.
And you're gonna let someone who hates her go free. Someone that would rather have her dead than happy somewhere else.
Someone that would rather be alive than see her dead. One good turn deserves another.
Look, I really do appreciate the sentiment. But this is business.
I can
As
see
much
where you're
as it
coming
is.
from. I really do. But I can't risk their lives to save one life. And I walk off towards the guy.
As you're
Right.
coming over, he looks at you and he says, "Just give it to me. Just give it to me straight. Are you gonna kill me? Like if you are, like, I get it. Like, I mean, you're a freak, and I killed your kind, and you got your vengeance. But just give it to me straight."
I look him in the eye. It's nothing personal.
You can see like he was really genuinely hopeful. He didn't look it when he asked you, but you saw it in the breaking of his will when you admitted to it. Like he asked you, he didn't expect that answer. So after like a couple of seconds of his like recoiling, he starts nodding. He's like, can I say a few can I like pray?
I'll actually take out like my eternal flame like tokens. Like, I'm quite versed in religion. I could at least help you go through your final rites. I look at Tal when I say that.
He actually
I
seems
will
genuinely
go-
confused. Go ahead.
Hey, Tal, why don't we find a way back up? Come on, let's go look.
Right.
So you go through the you start going to like get like everything set up to do like the little ritual or whatever for him. You don't have to make a roll for it or anything. Right before you actually start saying it, maybe even like 2 words into you starting like the whatever final rites ritual or whatever that you say, 2-3 words in, he interrupts you and says, "I just got one more request." He says to you, Bran.
All right, say it.
"Don't use the magic. I don't want it. I don't want it on my soul when I die."
Don't worry. I was gonna make it quick. No magic.
He seems genuinely appreciative of that. Still broken, but he understands. He's a soldier, and he's killed a lot of people. He gets it.
Yeah.
So you go through the rites, and you say the things. How is it you off him?
Dagger. Just quick slice of the throat. Make it as quick, as painless as I can.
Oh God, that's not quick. That's like slow.
Oh wait.
No,
What
that's
would be a
fine. That's
quick way
fine.
of
It's
finishing-
like,
You want to drive it up into the brain.
yeah. Like crossbow bolt
Yeah,
in the eye
I'm
is
like-
quicker, but not something that he would want to see coming, right? But either way, you finish him off. It's no matter what, it's unpleasant, and there's nothing he can really do about it. He honestly,
he's not gonna be able to complain about it later.
yeah, he honestly, anybody that in that last moments, no matter how tough or brave they might be, no matter how cinematic movies make them look, they could try to be super badass, but unless it's something as quick and easy as a guillotine, like, you freak out that last second. There's like that last moment death throes, like try to pull away or get away from it, and so of course that's just natural that he does so. And so he does die a semi-heroic death and like accepting, like semi like, okay, he accepted it and took it like a badass, but
He's
there wasn't
kind
a
of at
swear word.
peace, even though he's not.
Yeah. So anyways, so you finish it off. The two of you guys went on, and do you like immediately start trying to find your way back up, or because you like what's your plan? Well, I suppose you go walking off, and Bran meets up with you shortly afterwards.
Yeah,
I'm
Tal's
gonna
gonna
go
go
through the
and,
bodies real quick, check if they
Tal's
had any
gonna
gold
go
on
and
them.
pet the horse.
Oh, so I suppose Bran, yeah, you guys start looking for a way. You pet the horse. We can get to RP in a second. Bran, you actually, as soon as you finish killing him, and I imagine you're not so crass as to slit a throat, and while he's watching you pet his friends, I imagine you wait till he's dead. And
Yeah, I make sure he passes without too much discomfort.
and then you go about and search the bodies. Do you search his as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because I know the others are a bit more impersonal. Do me a favor and roll me your investigation check. But, I know you're not in a rush. You can literally just take your time. So you can roll with advantage.
Cool.
Oh, you know what I just realized? An easy way for you to have killed him? Your magic cudgel.
Oh
No
yeah,
magic,
yeah.
bro.
Is it?
I would have done that then.
Yeah.
Just like bash his temple or whatever.
It's
He
not
wouldn't have seen it coming.
Yeah, it's not technically considered magic if you hit him with a club, even if you use magic to enhance it, right? So,
Yeah, it's fine. He never knew.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't have seen it coming. I would have done like a countdown. Okay, 5, 4, bam.
So searching about the camp, you do find, a bit of coin on them, but nothing so crazy. I'll actually let Bastion roll for me. There were 4 guys, so you can roll 4d10 for gold, and 8d6 for silver.
Roll us the good loot, dance.
So 17 gold and 8d6 for silver. And then like searching through the rest of it, 31 silver is what you find. Nothing crazy. You find they all had their crossbows. You know, every one of them had crossbows, but clearly like 2 of them were nicer than the other ones. Just because like 2 guys weren't really crossbow people, as you noticed. Did it look through it, but like nothing really stands out. Maybe you grab a couple bolts to reload. You grab some like rations, food. You know, like, oh, this is a better whetstone than my whetstone. You know, basic things like that. Switch out boots. Like nothing crazy. The only thing that does kind of stand out is the guy that actually stood over you with his longsword to fight with you. You actually... Oh, wait. He lost his longsword in another area. Never mind. You don't get that. My apologies. So nothing really stands out of significance amongst them. So, yeah, nothing really does. Sorry. So you are able to join back up with them. You got the horse together. Maybe you guys have a small amount of chatter. Anything important you want to say to one another before Bran joins in, or just kind of talk about the next plan together?
I assume we would just be in silence, and like my goal is just to distract him from the thought of it. So I'd probably just like point out little things, be like, oh hey, I think there might be a path up this way, you know, that kind of stuff.
Every time you talk, Tal punches you.
So you go walking up to the group. You know, they've looking for the way back up. They're trying to walk the horse to the area, but as we described beforehand, this isn't the place to bring a horse. This is actually awful for bringing a horse. So it slows them down a bit, but they're fine. They're picking the way because you guys had seen beforehand there was that path, and you could choose to stay low or go high. You went high, and that's how you saw them, as opposed to going low and bumping into them, right? So you're picking your way back in that direction to get there. You rejoin to the group, Bran, because, you know, you rejoin them. So as you go walking up to them, you know, what do you say or do, or what do you guys say or do?
I don't say anything first.
Okay. So you go walking up to the group.
Yeah.
What do you guys say or do? As he rejoins you.
I'm just gonna observe reactions and make sure nothing ends up too harsh.
Goes to you,
Yeah,
Tal.
my attention is mostly on Tal to see how he reacts.
So you see Tal turn, and he sort of glowers at you as you walk back. And then he balls up his fist, and he starts striding towards you. And he's going to swing for the face.
Okay. I won't resist, so roll for it. I mean, it's not hard to hit. It's not hard to...
Yeah, this would be really hilarious if he just misses.
Misses completely.
I mean, and you can roll your damage. I mean, I know you're not like... I mean, 8 points of damage on against somebody with only like 17
Yeah,
health
maybe
or
it'd
whatever.
just be like a 1
You
or a
might be
10.
No, but like you like, because you specifically promised to break a bone, and even though your
Yeah.
nose isn't technically a bone, it's cartilage or whatever. I mean, that's enough damage to permanently send somebody's nose sideways. So
Here it goes.
Here he
you
goes.
all of a sudden you hit him. Have you ever been punched in the nose, like legit punched in the nose before, Rick, or no?
Nope.
Okay, so to describe it for you, for your understanding, everything goes black, though you can still see technically. It's hard tunnel vision. Everything's blackened around you with that like fuzziness around your sights. Your ears almost start ringing. You can feel it, literally you can feel it like in the back of your mouth and in your teeth and whatnot, as like blood starts to pool and pour down both sides, like down the back of your nasal like cavity up down to into your mouth, and also out your nose too. Like, I mean, it is a sharp pain that literally, like, it's one of those things where I'm surprised not more tabletop games have a mechanic for it. Getting hit in the nose, and especially one strong enough to break your nose, for the average person stuns them. Like, legit, like, it takes you several seconds to even be able to realize what's going on around you to react. So like, you were flat out, like, have no presence of mind for a few moments. And then you kind of like, pulling it all together, much like a hard hit to the nuts, but honestly, in my opinion, much more disorienting than a hit to the nuts. And I've been hitting the nuts really hard, and I've never broken my nose. So,
Alright. I take it, and after a moment, I put a hand on my nose and I heal. I cast first level Cure Wounds.
do me a
Next time
favor,
another
roll me a
sword.
concentration check for that. It's not a
Oh,
high
just a
DC, it's
flat
just a 10.
charisma?
Yeah, it's just a 10. You do it. You successfully heal the nose. So my thing when it comes to healing magics, especially in a little bit more grittier worlds, is it definitely heals the wound. If the one shot of healing magic doesn't heal the entire wound all at once, scars will be left behind. If you immediately heal it the rest of healing magic, it's very faint scars that will probably fade over time and maybe even disappear or whatever. But like when it comes to things like bones and whatnot, you may be able to heal the damage, but it doesn't necessarily mean you do it right. So it's kind of like if your doctor set your nose wrong or you didn't visit a doctor. So actually do me a favor. You're not using a mirror or anything, so you're gonna have to roll at disadvantage. Roll me a medicine check.
I mean, I do have a silver mirror, so I could just pull that out.
Well, you said, would you? I don't know if you would have pulled out the mirror immediately, right? Because you just reached up and healed your nose to get rid of the pain. But that's fine. You can always fix it later on by breaking it again. My sister had to do that.
Oh, God.
She broke her nose in a fight, and so she had to go and have it reset.
Oh.
Disadvantage medicine check, okay.
Good luck.
Do you know who Owen Wilson is?
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Well,
Does that answer your question?
Google Owen Wilson, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And
Give me
so,
Owen Wilson nose, huh? Oh.
so you heal the damage, but it is definitely has been broken at some point in time in your life. Like I said, it can be reset, but that's up to you. Do you guys say anything?
Tal just balls up his fists a couple times, then turns away, walks back to the horse.
Feel better, Tal. Feeling like a big man. Got it all out.
Feeling like a man. And he gives you a look to clearly underline what he means by that.
Cool.
I hear that, and he's just like, he asked me to tell it him straight. I at least gave him that. And his final rites. Heck, I even made it painless for him. No magic.
You know, I'm actually really shocked that the one who killed actually the rest of the group cares about the last one.
That was different. They were trying to kill us.
Right? I agree. They were trying to kill us.
He wasn't.
Not
the
at that
beginning.
moment, but he was at first. He literally admitted to killing freaks because they're freaks. So because I exist, I deserve to die.
You've killed people accidentally, haven't you?
Maybe
Yes,
we
I
should.
have.
Maybe
I've
we
also
should.
I've also saved people.
Yeah?
Let's,
Would you have saved people if you hadn't had a chance to live? You got lucky. I'm sure someone's shown you some pity along the way.
Hey, you know, it's getting a little late. I'm sure Bastion's worried about us.
Yeah,
Listen,
we
he's
should,
probably balls deep in some dwarf right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Let's go. Let's head that way, eh?
Yeah, we should get back.
So you guys start walking back after about an hour or so of travel. She had been making
So-
her way towards you guys. She will rejoin with you, but feel free to RP before you meet up with her.
Well, on the way back, I don't care when. I'm just gonna be like. So, at first I was at a beach, some coast somewhere. Where'd you guys end up?
I was in a bed, and
Oh, that's
there was a tub, and it was all very fancy until I started bleeding over the bed, messing all the fancy covers up. But you know that gave me a moment to like check out the damage and instinctively just like heal it back up. So it definitely helped save my life. And afterwards, I appeared on a boat. and I spooked the hell out of some old guy. He was hacking and coughing. Oh god, he's probably gonna die within the next few years if he doesn't get that checked out properly by a doctor. I got to relax. The calm sway of the boat, only the sea. Imagine it was a sea. It smelled like the sea. There was a lot of salt in the air.
Well, I was charged down by 2 horse-wielding maniacs. Well, riding, not wielding. You get it.
Get a horse out of it.
Yeah, but if I hadn't had a spear, I might have come out of it with 2 spears in me instead.
Yeah, well, I had a sword in the middle of my body, and I wouldn't have been able to take a second blow.
Wow, that's true, I suppose.
So conversation kind of tapers off. You guys probably have other little chats here and there. It's typical stuff like you guys do. Like I said, a little over an hour later on, because you guys were out traveling opposite directions, eventually meet up with, how do I say her name again? Brelka.
Brelka.
So you meet up with Brelka. And so when she sees you guys from like a bit of a distance, because she's a scout, so she knows how to take like spots to look. And then like you can actually like, once again, because he's so incredibly perceptive, you see her standing on a spot where she kind of clearly sees you guys and hops down and starts like hard jogging over to meet up with you guys. When you do meet up with her, you know, over in a craggy area, there's lots of rocks and whatnot around. So like very often you can see somebody and like lose sight and see somebody lose sight of them. Even walking around like with each other, you're always walking around objects, right? Unfortunately, you're slowed down a bit by the fact that you have this huge ass horse. You have to try to navigate through here. But honestly, that horse has already made some sort of connection with what's his face here. So Tal. So anyways,
Start writing down names or something, man. Just get like a quick like cheat sheet.
I mean, honestly,
use a post-it
Do you
note
want
or
us? Do
whatever.
you want us to like stick post-it notes on our forehead with our names?
my cheat sheet's actually down on Roll20. But again, like Neil says Neil H, and Messi says Messi, but Brand and Bastion say the correct one.
Mine should say the right thing.
They're being cunts. I got it. Okay.
Yeah. So like when you change that, that's like my little cheat sheet area. No, not that spot. If you actually.
Oh, at the bottom.
Yeah. That's what I use as a cheat sheet. So what I always say is like you should have your full name on your character sheet, so that when you at the bottom of the Roll20 chat, if you click where it says as, you click your character's full name, and it'll show like your little icon, like it does for Tal and it does for Leonard. But even though this is Brand Helder, that's because what's his name? Rick wrote his whole name as Brand Helder, but is actually doing as himself, not as his character. But we can go over that another time. I can explain that afterwards.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I see how it is. I'll fix it.
So anyways, pushing on, she comes rushing up to you guys. She's clearly been sweating, like a decent amount, because dwarves do sweat. Don't believe the hype. Yeah. So she comes rushing up to you guys, and she's a bit out of breath. And she's like, there you are. I won't lie. As soon as you jumped, I didn't even stay to see if you landed. It was, I couldn't watch. I just started running to get here.
It's okay.
Let me give me a minute, and she'll actually say, actually just got myself dizzy doing that. So she sits down to catch her breath and kind of like collect herself a little bit. And after she catches her breath, she looks at you guys and she's like, "So you got them?"
All dead. All 4 of them. I hand her like the map. We were able to interrogate one of them. Information is 2 months out of date, but you might be able to find some use with it.
Okay, yeah, that's wonderful. She takes your map and starts pulling out her own map and unfurling it so she can kind of like check things side by side with it. But like in the middle of doing so, she stops and she looks up. She says, "Where are they keeping the horse?"
Don't ask.
Kind of a long story, actually.
They weren't keeping it.
We'll tell you on the way back. We'll
It's a long story.
Goes back down. Looks. She's compares points. So there's actually like spots of the map where one of like the campsites areas that he had pointed out is actually a spot that they had noticed beforehand. It was one of like one of the furthest away from their base. So more or less like the likelihood of somebody being at this camp is rather slim. It's one of those like an area that they had set up for others to use as their own like forward position. You know what I mean? So like this is if somebody's being moved forward and a place to hold them, this camp would be a spot. So you could go there and it could be abandoned. You could go there, there'd be a scouting party. You can go there and that could be where the army is moving forward. You know what I mean? I'm using the word army liberally. You don't know how many people there are.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a question you didn't ask, which I thought was funny. So you are working with. So she works through all those different areas, and that was the only one that she can kind of like collaborate with. We're like, okay, that actually makes sense, which gives you some semblance of like she was telling the truth. But the other three, she has no idea. She just marks them on the map and like kind of will say things about like the terrain for 2 out of those other 3 areas. Because like she's like, okay, that actually makes sense that there could be a camp there if I remember the terrain well enough, based off of her own markings and like annotations on her map. Because it's like scribbled on with a whole bunch of like different like her shorthand. And the 4th one, she's like no clue, but she marks it. So anyways, you guys eventually get up and start walking. You tell the story of like the battle. You tell the story of like the teleporting. Does everybody tell like their own experiences? Excuse me. And she's like, so she's like taken aback. She's actually a really good listener when it comes to this. Like, she like avidly hears every part of everybody's story. And even like when it's like a boring story, like, yeah, I was at a beach, and like you give like the details, and like you were legit there for 2 rounds, like 12 seconds. So
Yeah.
so 10, 15 seconds. So when the story, when that story is like super boring, like to everybody else, like, okay, he's around on the beach for, you know, a couple seconds. She actually is like still excited about it. I'm sorry.
I imagine as we tell the stories, we'd leave out the part about the last guy. Like just kind of like intentionally not mention whether or not we killed him, that kind of thing.
I mean, I already told her they're all dead, all 4 of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. We'll know. We'll say that they're dead, but we won't say that
Like,
there's
it's
like.
not required to explicitly.
Yeah.
Do you share with her any of the information that you got off of him, or do you keep it to yourself?
Yeah, I imagine we would.
You specifically talk about the boy even?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like
hold on,
the
let's backtrack
information
then.
about the Scoia'tael, that's the part I'm keeping behind for now.
Maybe we should. Let's not specifically mention that they talked about a boy, but we could ask like some prodding questions.
So this is what happens. Just to kind of like sum this up, push forward. At one point in time, when Tal's telling his story, I imagine it comes to Bran's mind first, just because Bran's like super secretive about a lot of things, like knows he wants to keep it to himself. So while she's like, again, engrossed, I mean, almost like fangirlish, engrossed into the conversation, but she's not like an obnoxious fawning kind of person. So you kind of like look over to you know, Leonard, and you give him like that look, and you're like, and you're kind of like pointing at her, and just, you know, you have like almost like an innuendo conversation back and forth to share that without having to speak it out loud or say it, besides a little bit of whispers because there are gaps between you guys or whatever. You do eventually have to share that with Tal. So imagine, since you guys had that moment, when the last person is like telling the story to her, whoever's like free will go and like inform Tal. Let's not tell her anything. Is everybody in agreement on this?
Well, Broker seems to be. I mean, Tal's getting along better with Broker than a lot of the other dwarves.
Yeah, I don't think it's that we shouldn't mention that he specifically told us there was a kid. Well, that actually, I do think that's what it is. I don't think that we should avoid asking about someone they might have been looking for. Like, if we were like, Brelka, is there... Do you know what they're doing around here? Like, do you know, like, is there anything specific that they're trying to track down?
I'm going to cut you off. From what I understand, you were omitting that detail, but not 100% not going to tell her. It's based off conversation. You were just going to prod first. So more or less, as you were regaling her with everything that transpired, and even say that, you know, they're all dead, so on and so forth, you'd be like, we did get some information. Oh, you maybe not even say you got some information off the one guy. Just be like, you know, hey, I had a couple questions, by the way, or I thought of something, and then okay, cool. So let's flash forward, because we all agree to that, right, Neil? Yes.
Let's hurry this up and get Dunstan here.
So let's push forward. Well, because you guys are heading back to the camp, it just takes you a couple days. So while you guys are talking, you who prods her first? Bastion.
Nice. I didn't understand
Tal
what the fuck you're talking
gets
about.
on well with Broker. actually, and he's currently getting on better with Broker than the other two. So he would ask some clandestine questions.
Yeah, I'll let Tal do it.
So he might just like ask about people of interest in the camp as a starting point.
So you have like the roll in, and you obviously are trying to be a little bit discreet about it. So just to because we don't have to role play the entire conversation, to cover that opening part leading into, you're actually gonna have to roll for me a investigation check to try to get information from her, or a because technically what you're doing is you're investigating, or a deception check. Either of those to try to like pull that information from her discreetly.
What I think is funny is that
been the one to
yeah,
try,
both Brand and I are specialized in those two areas, but not.
I have a 6
But-
for deception.
But you have to think of it this way.
Ah.
You have to think of it this way, though. Like while you guys are more skilled in that, for the rolling aspect, for the RP aspect, he has the best relationship.
Yeah. We would
yeah, for
probably
sure.
roll with disadvantage or whatever. I get it.
Make it work, Neil.
Try.
Okay.
It's not horrific, to be honest.
Use a Witcher sense.
Do you want to use a Witcher sense to? Because
Do you guys want to know this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Use a Witcher sense.
We'll use a Witcher.
We need this one.
Bran, you're on Witcher sense duty, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
trust.
I'm on it. I've got it.
Thank you.
Oh baby, these
You
Witcher senses
got
we're
me.
rolling are not amazing, are they?
No, but honestly, a 2's not terrible. So
No, yeah, +2 strong.
yeah. So anyways, let's pushing on. You work your way into the conversation with her, and honestly, she was engrossed in the conversations you were saying anyways. So when you start asking more questions, you guys are friendly. You don't think you've triggered anything off of her, you know, from you don't think you triggered any like her being like, why are you
Red
asking
flags
this?
or anything?
Yeah, red
Yeah.
flags. Thank you. I could not think of that phrase. Thank you. You don't get ejected from the football game. So
Hell yeah, dude.
you can start with your hard questioning now. So just to set the moment, just to, like her finishing the question that you say, and she's like, "Yeah, but honestly, the food that we get is often transported to us, or hunted. It's not like we really have much we can grow in that area. You know what I mean? So you know, we have people that are sympathetic to the cause, and they bring us the food."
So I think Tal might go for a slightly different tact. So he's asking directly about the camp, about people of interest in the camp, and now he's gonna like just musing like with a friend. He's like, isn't it weird how in cities where there's like non-humans, you see elves and half elves, but you never see dwarves and half dwarves?
Roll me an insight check. You were right there with her. The other two obviously know what you're trying to do, but it's not like because of the situation. So before you guys roll, because of the situation,
baby.
it's not like you guys are like right there walking side by side, elbow to elbow with her, right? You're removed a bit, closer in. So what I want you to do is one of you guys can be
So much face.
one of you guys can be like nearby, and one of you guys are going to be a bit further from them. Make your decision. Who's the eavesdropper?
It's gotta be Mr. fucking Detective Perception over there.
It's up to you guys. Who's the eavesdropper?
I'm okay with that. I wish, for an RP stance, that probably would make more sense.
Also,
If I were-
your character tends to have keener ears and whatnot, so yeah.
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 Yep. And honestly, Bran probably should hang back a bit because he's the one that everybody trusts the least. So, he's on horse duty. So you can also roll me an insight check, and you don't have to roll with any penalties. Bran, if you would like to, you would have to roll me a perception, followed by an insight with disadvantage, or you can just say, save the dice.
Fuck it.
That's my boy.
That wasn't with
13?
disadvantage.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Oh, you meant
Perception.
one.
Say the
You know what,
first one.
honestly, that actually makes more sense. So that does make
Yeah,
more sense.
that's kind of what I assumed. Like double perception and double like.
Did he pass the
Insight.
perception test?
So you hear the conversation and see them, but you don't hear the whole conversation. Like parts are hard to make out, like
And then I'll.
but unfortunately you can't really read anything off of her. It's actually Leonard that
Oh my
sees.
God.
So when
It's
you
fine. She takes it as a flirt.
when you ask that question to you,
She blush.
she thinks for a second, and then goes to respond, which I'll say my response in a second. To you, Leonard, she flat stop, like a full stop for a second. She like freezes. You can even see like, because like you're walking somewhat behind them or whatever, so you can only see like the side of her face. You can actually see like even the way that she steps, her foot like almost misses a step, but like catches it enough that like by the edge of her toes as opposed to her whole foot that, you know, he didn't notice it next to her, but like you can see like her foot barely got the step so she can keep walking normal moving forward. So definitely trips up for a second. And so anyways, her response to you is, huh, that is funny, isn't it? That there's so I honestly don't know if that's a thing. I don't think many humans would want to breed with dwarves, and I don't think many dwarves would want to breed with humans. I mean, when you're speaking of elves and what humans tend to find attractive, usually elves are something that a typical human finds more attractive, exotic, and fanciful, and the like. But more than that, elves have always been less persecuted than the dwarves. They've been hunting down and trying to rid us for much longer. I don't know why us more than them, but there are fewer dwarves in the world because of it. And this is probably more our world than anyone else's.
Can I ask a quick meta question?
Shoot.
Are there gnomes in the Witcher world?
Yeah, absolutely.
There are?
Yeah.
Are there halfling gnomes?
Well, I thought we thought there was a gnome at that one place.
Yeah.
So there's halfling gnomes, but she's making the case. Okay.
What's a halfling gnome? I'm sorry, because gnomes and halflings are different.
No. So there's halflings, which you can see in The Witcher 3. Sometimes they walk about, and then there's gnomes, which you never see in any of the Witcher games. I believe because they're in the deep mountain ranges where the dwarves live. Like they're like deep in the Mahakam Mountains.
Yep. So like you're in the region where they exist, but you're not going to bump into them generally.
Sorry, this is a really weird question. What is a halfling half of then?
They're just called that. They're just called that. It's like a racist term by humans.
Oh, it's just like a dwarf.
No. So are you asking like what happens if you mix these two races?
Well, I guess what is a halfling is my question, because I always thought a halfling was halfway between a human and a gnome. That's what I just assumed.
It's its own race. It evolved on its own over time. It's funny. I actually have this like crazy, awesome, mechanically supported theory for 3.5 that literally gnomes are dwarven halflings. But that's a different.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. But that's neither here nor there. So
a hobbit and a halfling are the same race.
Yeah.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So they're just little people. So moving on. She says that response to you about like, you know, that's weird. I honestly don't even know if they exist. You know, so on and so forth.
Tal
Go ahead, I see.
will give like a shoulder a little squeeze and say, "I reckon it's just your strong elven, dwarven blood," and like give her a little nudge, like breaking the tension.
She goes. She laughs, and actually being a bit playful, she actually responds with, and you can tell with the playfulness, she's being playful to totally turn the conversation messy. You pick this up, but she's being playful, and she says, honestly, if I had to have it my way, most men wouldn't be able to handle what a dwarven woman can deliver. And so they just go run.
Can I pick up on that?
I mean, you hear the words, and so, you chuckle to yourself. She says, so I imagine most men can't, handle what a dwarven woman can deliver. So most of them pups go running with their tail between their legs rather than step up to the challenge.
Think you mean step down?
She gives you like a screwed up, like offended look. Clearly kidding, like clearly a joke. Like how dare you?
So, if you don't mind, sorry, I just came in on the tail end of that conversation. By the way, never mind. Quick question: what is it?
She being playful to Tal. She says to you, "The answer is no, love."
Quick question. Why is it that your group that you spend a lot of time with are so against our kind, and I like kind of motioned to like me, Tal, and Bran in like a physical way, not in like a, because he's a source, but
Yeah.
and I'm a Witcher, but you get the idea.
She actually will slow down and stop, look about, and say, "This is a decent spot." And like, you know, just like you guys have done many times beforehand, pulls out like a snack in her canteen and goes to sit down. And like after she spends like 30 seconds or so getting comfortable, she looks to you to like respond. She says, "You have to understand what we've lived with. I mean, you do to a degree in the places you go and the things that people say, but it's not the same for you as it is for us. You don't remember your childhood, and even then it was probably normal to a degree or another, despite the markings on your face and however it is that you got them. Imagine being a 2-year-old's child and other kids are throwing rocks at you and it's telling you how ugly you are and how stupid you are and how you should just be killed and murdered your entire life. Everyone has always just treated you the way you were, to say second class is a severe understatement. People have actually tried to kill my what is it, sister? People have actually tried to kill my sister before. She was 6 and they almost did it. They almost killed her."
Well, I understand that, but when I was there, I saw a lot of children. I guess I just assumed that was their home. That was where they were born. Were they all picking up from other places?
I just quietly sit down while like he's asking that.
Dwarves aren't like man. Neither are elves. We don't. Our trees don't fruit quite as often as yours. When we have children, it's something special. And I just described to you what it's like to be a child and the number of deaths that happen accidentally, cities and towns. So when you have a child, you can't travel while pregnant. It's too dangerous. You know how this world is. You fight to make it safer. But when they're old enough that you think it's okay, maybe 2 or 3, you pick them up and you just walk. And you hope that you can get somewhere where you have some sort of salvation. And
So
the Scoia'tael camps are... You might not agree with what they do or how they do it. You might not even like who lives there. But you know what? They're not going to try to kill you. Just because you breathe. Just because you stand. Just because you look the way you do.
your group picks up a lot of people, obviously, a lot of people in need. And you've never run into a case of elves or halflings?
Oh no, please. The Scoia'tael are a strange bunch. We are not... I honestly don't fully understand the politics of it all because my father, as you know, is the leader of our camp, and he handles a lot of that stuff. But even he talks about the Scoia'tael with a bit of derision. We have our goal. We want to live our lives happily and freely. We just want a land where we can blossom and flourish. And so we used to work with the elves a lot more until we were given some land and things didn't go quite how we expected to because the elven queen of that land. And so people have fled that land as well to join up with other smaller groups of the Scoia'tael that are just trying to find their own place, because even the small chunk of land we got for ourselves is not a safe place for all of us.
So, let's say theoretically now, someone that isn't a dwarf comes to camp seeking refuge, like let's say a half-dwarf or something. What, do you just send them away?
Let's say she says, when you say that, it's once again like I'm just rolling off the old insight checks, because you're kind of like in the moment there, what you call it. And I imagine Rick, I will allow your 7 to become that 10, because you're no longer far away. You're actually part of the conversation, so you have the higher of the disadvantage roll, and so you have not that it's advantage, and you actually can see like for a moment she kind of like looks away for a second. She's a pretty hard eye contact person, but she looks away for a second. like her eyes like dart away, but then she like plays it off, like taking a sip of her beverage and like wiping her mouth and clearing her throat and looking back. Only Tal doesn't pick that up. She says, well, let's say an elf, an individual or even a small group comes by us. Well, one, they're not going to come by us. They're going to come by me. Or better yet, I'm going to come by them. And they're going to be met much like the way that you were. But, to be fair, a dwarf would be met that same way too. After some questioning, and some understanding of who they are, they will be led, and much like you are, no weapons, well guarded, and then after a conversation with my father, then if they're deemed worthy, they'll be welcome to be among the camp. If after time they prove themselves valuable and are genuinely good people, they're welcome to join the camp.
So your father interviews everyone that comes to the camp.
It sounds daunting until you realize that number is not great at all.
Right.
You've been to the camp, Leonard. There's only a few dozen dwarves.
I'm aware of this. I think I have all the information I need. Do you just to clarify some things from your perspective? Before I joined up with this hardy crew of adventurers, I lived in a city run by the Eternal Flame, and it was very it was hard. It was a hard place to survive, but I made my living there by doing some detective work, and I have a lot of experience doing this. And I'm just one of those guys that when I come to a place, I like to know the whole truth, because I've seen a lot of things happen when people don't share all the information they should. And typically, I end up getting all the information I should in a well enough time, no matter what I have to do to get it.
That's a veiled threat, in my opinion. A well enough veiled threat. You don't have to roll any deceptions or anything, but you certainly can make an intimidation check. I don't think I can give you any bonuses to that, though. I think it's going to be a flat roll, yeah. Trying to decide if you get anything to that.
I'm not very good at charisma, but...
Apparently the music's...
I did. I lowered it down. And honestly, it was just that one particular song on the light music track. So, but I lowered it down.
Why do I even try, Daelric?
Oh my God! I just went and saw that. I'm so sorry. So what it is? It's not that
do you want to witch this?
Like I said, it's not that you're like that was actually very well phrased from you. Yeah, that was very well phrased from you, and it was veiled well enough that she, would get it or whatever. I think the thing is like she's just kind of. So I'm not going to give away what's completely going on in her head, right? But I think your threat just simply didn't come off as a threat to her. It simply came off as a friend explaining his skills to another on how they overcome tasks. And she didn't put two and two together of how it pertained to her. So
it might actually work better in the long run.
No, I think he was hoping she would open up, but unfortunately she's not going to because of the check.
So I can just imagine like she's staring, she's like, wow, that sounds rough.
Oh, that's lovely, dear.
And I'm like, yeah, it was difficult.
Or just like, what was the name of that person? Like, yes.
So
like, wow, this guy's a little bitch.
So you guys, is this conversation more or less over from here?
Yeah, at that point, I'm just gonna be like, okay, all right, and I'll just like give up, and I'll get up, and I'll be like, all right, well, I know who to go to next, so in my mind, I'm okay.
We flash forward several days as it takes you guys time to get back to the camp where it is, and why don't we take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have
Duns.
Yeah, we'll have
Duns.
Hey!
The remaining portion will be less than an hour, but that's okay. We'll see everybody shortly.
Back in the cage.
Bye.